Oh, we're recording.
Oh. Uh-oh.
Oh, hey there. Didn't see you there. Anyways.
So you're doing the intro this time?
Oh, I am.
Yeah.
That's right. We can do like an outtakes episode.
I mean, I guess we could.
It would be boring.
Yeah, because this is all we do, and then we get into the episode.
Yeah. I guess we could get into the episode.
Yeah, go ahead.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to Downtime with Jacob and Greg. I'm Greg.
I'm Jacob.
In this episode, we're going to go over some streaming services and our favorite original series from each of them. Roll the intro. All right, we're back. Well, Jacob, I guess we should start with the original streaming service, in my opinion, the original.
Blockbuster.
No, of course it's Netflix.
Right, because that's kind of the one that started it all.
Yeah. It started out as the rental service,
yeah,
and then eventually turned into the online platform it is today.
There was only one movie that I got in the mail that I wanted to see.
Which one was it?
It was Rain Man.
Rain Man.
Have you ever seen that movie?
No, I don't think so.
It has Tom Cruise and Dustin Hoffman. It's from the 1980s. My stepmom had made a reference. I was like, I don't understand. And this was like when I was like 13.
Yeah.
She was like, all right, we're going to order this in the mail. And it came in the mail, and we watched the movie. Great movie, by the way. I mean, I could talk about it for like a minute, but I don't want to bore you.
Yeah, that's right. Do you even have like a DVD player or anything like that nowadays?
Well, my parents have a DVD player at home.
Okay.
I have an Xbox, so you could play
That's
DVDs
fair.
on that.
Yeah.
But it quickly went away after, the internet became so widely available.
Yeah.
And it was getting faster. So they decided to put all the movies they had in their retainer online.
Yeah.
People pay a monthly fee to watch them.
Which is great because you can have an endless amount, well, I guess memory-wise, storage-wise, but an endless amount of videos and movies instead of having like a tangible item that takes up space.
And as much as I am a nostalgia person, it is just so much easier to watch it online.
It is. It's so accessible and
unless I truly care about it, like with the Avengers movies and things like that, whenever that full box set, whenever I want to buy it.
Oh, dude, that's cool.
That.
Yeah, it's probably got some like graphic on it that's super dope.
But and anything else is like if it's on Netflix or Hulu or whatever, like I'll watch it then. Yeah. Or I bought a lot of Marvel movies on Google Play. That way I have it with my Google account. So, but yeah, let's hop right into Netflix.
All right, Netflix. So when thinking about this episode, I came up with a couple of Netflix original series that I really like.
Okay.
Tell me if you've seen them. So in no order.
Right.
I put House of Cards on there. Have you ever seen House of Cards?
I used to watch it. My brother was a big fan of it. I used to watch it some. And then, he moved out. I lost interest in it.
Yeah.
And then after that whole Kevin Spacey debacle,
right.
I heard that the last season kind of went down the tank. So.
It wasn't as up to par as the other ones, but I had to put this one on the list because it was the one that started all of it for Netflix.
Right.
It's the first one that they decided to make themselves. And it followed a family,
the
Underwoods, Frank Underwood and Claire Underwood, and just how Frank was able to go from a congressman and eventually made it to the presidency and all the trials and murders and all the kind of stuff that went into him becoming president, and we kind of got like a fictional view of what it takes to be president.
Yeah. A fictional view of real life politics. There's just less murder in real life politics.
Cutthroat, but in this TV series, legitimately cutthroat.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was that one.
Separating art from a person, Kevin Spacey really made that show happen.
He did, and he does have things in real life that I do not agree with, of course.
Like all the allegations and stuff.
Right. But for me, great actor.
Yeah.
He was in that, I think it's called 21, the movie about counting cards and blackjack. Fantastic movie. He was also Baby Driver.
Yeah, Horrible Bosses. He has so much Like, it gets controversial talking about him nowadays because, you know, he has so much talent.
Yeah.
And he is like, I don't even know how to explain it. He brings this presence to a role, whether it be silly or serious, that he could play it intimidating, but he's also funny.
Yeah.
And after all the allegations and stuff, he released a video. I don't know if you've seen this.
I did on YouTube.
Let me be frank.
Yeah.
That video freaked me out.
That video was very strange. If you haven't seen it, I'd recommend going to watch it.
Yeah, it's called Let Me Be Frank on YouTube.
Yeah.
And he's playing it in the character of Frank Underwood.
But
he's talking about
his real life issues.
Yeah.
Which is strange.
And I personally enjoyed that video so much just because
Why?
It was nice. This is going to sound really terrible the way I'm going to phrase it.
Yeah.
It was nice seeing him acting again, right? But at the same time, it was bad on the sense of he was kind of playing tricks with his fans.
Right.
Or with just people in general.
Yeah, he was deceiving the audience a little bit.
Yeah.
Which is crazy. All right, let's move on to another original series from Netflix. I've got The Crown on here. Have you ever watched The Crown?
Never watched it.
So The Crown is more of a British, I don't know whether to call these TV shows or what. Series. We'll call it series.
Yeah, they're TV shows in the industry. Like, by industry standards, they're TV shows.
Okay. So The Crown is British. It follows the monarchy of the Queen. So it's just basically how she got the throne and goes through some trials and is very accurate to history. So it's basically reenactments.
Now, is this like the Queen that's currently the Queen, or is it? Okay.
The Queen Elizabeth.
Queen Elizabeth.
I don't know which one she is.
I think she's the fourth.
I don't know. I can't speak to that. But
so it goes about this current Queen.
Yes.
Okay.
It goes through how she met her husband Philip, and then she had kids and the trials and tribulations that go into that.
Right.
So, which was pretty cool.
Good show.
Yeah, good show. I'd recommend. All right. What about you? What kind of original series you got?
So, I watched Orange Is the New Black.
Okay.
It came out at a time late middle school, early high school for me.
Yeah, it was early on in Netflix.
Yeah, so I was too young to be watching it, naturally.
Yeah, the first episode, the lady's boobs are out.
Yeah, boobs are out the whole series.
Yeah.
And, but it I really just enjoyed the comedy aspect of it. Of they're dealing with life in prison, and how they work through that in this all female prison, how they get along with other inmates, the drama between them. It has made me cry a few times.
It does get sad.
Whenever there are serious things or a character passes away, like when Poussey, you've seen?
Yeah.
So spoiler alert if you haven't seen it. One of the characters, Poussey Washington. I don't know if I'm saying her name right.
No, you're right.
Okay. There's a
that's a little joke in the show.
Yeah. So she there's this fight that breaks out in the cafeteria, and one of the security guards, prison guards. That's what I'm trying to say, yeah. One of the prison guards is trying to detain her, and he's pushing in on her back way too much, and she can't breathe.
Right.
And so she dies like that.
Yeah.
And it mirrors what happens in real life. And it was
especially to minorities.
Right.
Poussey is an African American lady who so happens to be lesbian as well.
So there's two minorities right there.
Yeah.
And mainly for the black community, it's tough dealing with people of power like police officers, because there is a certain stigma with police officers and the black community.
Yeah.
And the show just reflected it very well. It shows what the guard went through afterwards, because he didn't mean to kill her.
Right.
He was trying to prove himself to his job by detaining her, but he just didn't realize what he was doing to her.
Yeah.
And
while that might be sad, he still should have suffered the consequences of killing somebody.
Yeah. But I think because legally he didn't get the justice that should have happened, he was still dealing with the fact that he killed someone.
Yeah.
And that was just in his mental headspace the entire time.
Yeah, for sure.
Other than that, I mean, I watched some of Stranger Things. I just haven't picked it back up.
Oh, man.
I've been so busy.
So when did you first watch Stranger Things?
Whenever it first came out, I didn't like it.
Okay, I didn't like it either.
And then I started rewatching it, and then I just ran out of time, starting with college and everything.
Yeah. Was that last year then?
Yeah. So it's just like, it's easier for me to rewatch things I've seen, or like start new things that I can't really invest in. Like comedy specials are a good thing that I use Netflix for. Anytime a new comedy special by like a comedian, Dave Chappelle, John Mulaney,
so good.
Tom Segura,
Bill Burr. I don't know if
Bill Burr.
I love Bill Burr.
The latest one that he did.
Good.
He made this joke talking about, I don't know, that wasn't Bill Burr. Dave Chappelle made this joke talking about the Me Too.
Dave Chappelle is very controversial in his new one.
Yeah, so he made this joke about the Me Too movement.
Right.
And he was like, yeah, I think they got him. I think they got him all. And I thought that was just, I don't know. I like his sense of humor. Yeah. It really makes you think. And also, he hates on white people so much with this new opioid. Well, not new, but the opioid crisis that's happening.
Yeah.
He's saying, whenever it was the crack crisis, or the cocaine, it was crack, right? I think it was.
I can't remember.
Whenever it was the crack crisis, the white people were like, just say no to drugs.
Oh, yeah.
And he was like, I know how white people feel now. I also don't care. But comedy specials I watch on Netflix a lot. I also watch shows that have previously come out on regular television.
Yeah, they're pretty good at that, of uploading things that have been on TV. Because
of the new, like, for example, I watch The Office and Frasier. Have you ever seen either one of those?
I've seen The Office. Is Frasier with an older gentleman? I can't remember his name.
Kelsey Grammer.
Yes, Kelsey Grammer.
He voiced Stinky Pete in Toy Story 2.
Oh, fun fact.
Yeah, fun fact. You might catch that a lot. I don't know if you've listened to the previous episodes, you'll notice that I'll just say these random facts. I love movies. That's one of my favorite things to talk about. So I'll just have these weird facts that'll just come out of me for some reason. But yeah, Netflix is really good with bringing these shows and giving them a new sense of popularity. Mm-hmm. But with the new streaming services that are coming out to compete with Netflix, like NBC, who originally aired The Office, they're coming out with one called Peacock. Yeah. Terrible name.
Right.
They're coming out with one that they're putting all their NBC shows on. So The Office and a bunch of other ones are going off Netflix.
Yeah. Which is smart on their part to be able to capitalize on their own TV shows.
Right, but then people, like, unless they really want to watch The Office, they might torrent it. That's probably what's going to happen. So they might pirate that, but it's just so many streaming services could come out and people just spend so much money, and then it's just like paying for cable.
Yeah, it's very annoying because I realized that we'll talk about Disney Plus later on in the episode, but when that came out, I was like, I'm paying for 3 different services right now. I'm paying for Netflix, Hulu. Well, I'm paying for Spotify, but I get Hulu with it.
And Showtime.
Right. And then I'm also paying for Disney Plus now too, and it's like, this is ridiculous. Yeah. I would rather just one service. All of you guys get your money out of it, but just let me pay one payment, man.
Yeah. Well, I mean, eventually Disney's going to own everything, so we won't have to worry about that.
Maybe we'll get there.
Yeah.
Anyways, let's jump into another service.
Do you want to start with Hulu or Amazon Prime first?
Let's go ahead and knock out Hulu. All right. Because I feel like there's not that many things on Hulu that I watch. I definitely watch The Handmaid's Tale on it. Really good show. Mm-hmm. It's basically about like an anarchy that happened in America. So there's a shortage in births in children. Right. So they gather all these women up that are fertile, and then those are the handmaids, and they give those to the ranking officers. They give the ladies to the ranking officers. So it's basically slavery. Gross. And what happens is the officers are married to a woman, and she is not fertile. So they get these handmaids who then they essentially rape.
Really gross.
Yeah, to be able to have kids. And it's just a bunch of drama. It follows one of the handmaids. I'm blanking on her name right now, which is...
Yeah, I couldn't.
Yeah, it's okay.
I haven't seen it, but I've heard that it's really good.
Really, really good. Very drama-filled. It is slow, but it's very thrilling to watch it.
Right.
Anyways, do you have one for Hulu?
So, with Hulu, it's the same thing with Netflix, honestly. But I use Hulu mainly for whenever new episodes of This Is Us. Great show. Have you seen it?
I have not, but I've heard amazing things about it.
Amazing. So I started watching it after the first season came out, and I think after the second season. Yeah, after the first 2 seasons came out, my roommate Zach, he told me to watch it because he was going to start watching it. I was like, all right, I'll watch it. So I watched it over the summer, the first 2 seasons. And within the first 2 seasons, I had cried like 3 times.
Aw.
It's one of those shows. It's like it centers around this family, and there are the happy times, sad times, angry times where you're, pissed off at a character, or there's the confusing times where you don't know what happened. So recently with the mid-season finale, that happened, right? And it's one of those shows that you're just wanting more and more and more.
Gotcha.
So I use Hulu mainly for that. I also use it to watch other shows that aren't on Netflix, like How I Met Your Mother was on Netflix.
It was, and then they removed it.
And then they removed it, and now it's on Hulu.
Okay.
And then I watch Family Guy. I watch Rick and Morty.
Oh.
I love Rick and Morty.
Love Rick and Morty.
Have you seen the first episode of the newest season?
No. Episode or season 4's out?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know that.
It came out last month.
Really?
Yeah.
I have not watched it yet.
It was really, I really enjoyed that episode. I was sitting there on my phone whenever it came out because someone had already uploaded it to Facebook. And so I was just in my room where I could have easily put it on the TV or on my computer, and I just sat there with my phone vertically, didn't even put it in the landscape. Just watched it for a full 30 minutes, and I was happy as could be.
It's really good. Something I want to bring up is binge watching.
Yeah.
How do you feel about binge watching? I used to love it.
Mm-hmm.
I used to love being able to have all the episodes accessible. But for me, it's kind of like when I'm done with it, I'm done with it.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to remember what happened in that when the new season comes out.
Right.
So I'm kind of lost when it comes out.
So I tend to avoid with new shows that I'm watching that are like on regular television. That is on regular television. Let me use correct grammar there for a second. I use apps to watch it because I don't have cable, right? So
Right.
This Is Us. I use Hulu. I watch The Flash from the CW. I use the CW app. And it's good. Binge watching is good for catching up on previous seasons.
Okay.
I used to enjoy it like you did. Like when I first watched How I Met Your Mother, I watched all 9 seasons in like a month or 2 months.
Really?
So it was the summer, didn't have anything to do. It was before I started working.
Yeah. It is good for when you don't have anything to do.
Yeah. But here recently, I'm starting to get older. I'm in college. I have a job. Like, they're just so, like, I have very little time to binge watch.
Yeah.
Unless I'm going to sleep and I'm putting just something on I've already seen. Mm-hmm. So it's like a special occasion to watch a new episode of something for me personally.
Yeah.
Which, like, we'll talk about Disney Plus later, but The Mandalorian, it's not putting all the episodes out at one time. It's doing every week. And I just, like, I'm excited for that.
Yeah. And it really gives a sense of community around it, too, because we're all in the same episode.
Yeah.
We're able to talk about that last episode that happened, which is something I really loved, like, back in the day. I remember, like, The Walking Dead. It would come on Sundays, and then on Monday, I would go to school and talk to everybody about it.
Yeah.
Because something shocking would have happened. And I miss that, because with binge watching, it's kind of like, did you watch the season? It's not, did you watch that last episode?
And, like, I think there are good aspects of binge watching, like if you don't have anything to do, or if you're planning to spend an entire day to, like, watch a certain amount of episodes with, friends or family or significant other. But yeah, I do understand that whole, like, sense of, like, community around episodes weekly. Like with This Is Us, I watch with my roommate, and at the end of each episode, we're like, what the heck just happened, or like, that was a good episode, or we're angry about something that happened and we talk about it then, or we wait until the next episode to bring up different things during the commercial breaks. Binge watching as a whole has kind of ruined television for me personally. If it's a show that releases everything out at one time. Now, there are people that are going to be like, well, Jacob, that's the best way to watch that. And I'm going to be like, well, people, you're your own people. I mean, that's just my opinion. You don't have to agree with me.
For sure.
Yeah.
All right. let's go ahead and get into Amazon Prime. So now with Amazon Prime, I don't usually watch that many things on it.
Right.
I just have Amazon Prime for the shipping.
Yeah.
To be honest. But with Amazon Prime, you also get Amazon Prime Video.
Yeah.
So I do watch this show called The Boys. Now, I don't know if you know about The Boys.
I've heard about it. I heard good things. Haven't seen it yet.
So good. Great series. So basically what it is it's corporate superheroes, if you want to put it like that. So it's this corporation that picks up superheroes. It's kind of set in like New York or something like that, set in everyday life.
Yeah.
And there just so happens to be superheroes there too. So it's not really like focused on a superhero world, if that makes sense.
Right.
And it just goes through how corporate they are and how the superheroes are actually bad. Like, they're bad people. Mm-hmm. They're in it just for the money, and they're just in it for the fame, basically. So it's really interesting. Some crazy stuff happens in it. In the first episode, a little bit of a spoiler, in the first episode, there's this guy that can run really fast, kind of like the Flash. And he runs through this guy's girlfriend.
I did see that clip.
And she explodes.
Yeah.
And he is still holding onto her hands while the rest of her body is in the street. Because, like, spread out in the street because the man ran through this girl.
I saw that on Twitter.
Yeah.
And I was just like, Jesus.
Yeah. Dude, it's
Like,
crazy.
I like the premise. Like, I've heard the premise of it as, like, non-superheroes are going up against these powerful superheroes to, like, correct it, right? Is that
Yeah.
Is that right?
That's basically right.
And it's an interesting idea of how can a mortal man or woman, don't want to...
Right.
Not
We're
including
inclusive
anyone,
here.
But how can a mortal being go up against what is essentially like a god?
Right.
And, that's...
And that's what they feel like they are,
Yeah.
which is why you tend to not like the superheroes, is because they portray themselves as the almighty.
Yeah, like deities.
Right.
And then, like, that's another, like, superhero movie trope that, like, you see in Avengers, right? Especially in Avengers Endgame. Like, there's a mix of, super soldiers, gods, mortals, all going against this, alien who feels that he is a god.
Yeah.
And it's an interesting concept that a lot of people can explore, and sometimes it's repetitive, but it's good whenever people can make it different.
Right. Which is exactly what The Boys has done.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you watch anything on Amazon Prime?
So, I did watch a little bit of the first season of Jack Ryan.
Okay.
With John Krasinski.
Yeah, the guy from The Office.
Yeah, he played Jim. Always looked at the camera with his smug face. And it's good. It's one of those things of I lost the time to watch it because you get so busy with everyday life that you can't enjoy like the things that you used to.
Right. This is a series or is this a movie?
Series.
Okay.
They just either they just announced season 2 or they released season 2 recently.
Okay.
But it was good. It's interesting to see John Krasinski, who did 10 years on The Office, go into this like serious role of this drama-esque role. Also coming from A Quiet Place. Have you seen that movie?
Great movie. It's more of a thriller than a horror, but great movie.
It is a great movie. That was his first directing credit, and he also acted in it with his wife, Emily Blunt.
Yep.
Fun fact.
Here we go. Jacob Fun Facts.
Jacob Fun Facts. Emily Blunt and John Krasinski married in 2011, I believe. So it's interesting.
Was that the only fact?
Well, I mean, yeah. I mean, they also had a deaf actress for the deaf girl in A Quiet Place.
Really?
She was legitimately deaf.
I love that.
They all learned sign language.
I don't love that she's deaf. Let me clarify.
Well, I mean, yeah.
But I love
like,
that they used an actor that can actually play the role.
Reference to like how to live quietly or like how to communicate without speaking.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you noticed, anytime that the camera is on her, there's no sound.
Right. No, I did notice that.
Because that's like from her perspective, she can't hear anything.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
So it's interesting seeing characters come from their typical, like, what you would point them as. I got it. Beautiful boy, the Steve Carell. It's a movie that Steve Carell was in with Timothy Chalamet or whatever.
Shyamalan?
It's his name starts with the last name starts with a C.
Okay.
It's about a dad who has a son with his ex-wife, and his son is going through, he has some mental issues. He's depressed, and he has a drug problem.
Mm.
And Steve Carell, you think, like again, The Office, funny man, 40-year-old virgin. He was also in the Anchorman movies.
Good movies.
Great movies.
All right, great
movies.
Great movies.
And so it was interesting to see him in this more serious, dramatic role. And I don't know. I just thought about it. Just thinking about Amazon Prime because it's on there. That was another movie that really tugged at my heartstrings. And seeing Steve Carell be this serious role, it expands your mind on you can't just put one character trope on one actor.
Right.
And then another thing I watch on Amazon Prime, I don't know if you've ever seen this show, it's called Psych.
Oh, I love Psych. It was on USA.
Yeah, so it was on USA, and again,
the network, USA Network.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. It was filmed in Canada, actually. A lot of shows are filmed up in Canada just because it's cheaper.
Right.
So my roommate puts me onto a lot of shows. Let me just as long as I've lived with him at school, I've watched a lot of shows that he suggested. And Psych was just one of those. It's a feel-good comedy, buddy comedy between the main character Sean and his buddy Gus. That's another great show. Highly recommend.
Would recommend. It follows a psychic, right?
Well, he's a fake psychic with good detective skills.
Okay.
It's like
I haven't seen it in a while.
It's an Americanized version of Sherlock Holmes.
Okay.
Because he has good detective skills and good deduction skills, and his buddy, he's not a doctor, but he sells pharmaceutical products. So it's close. It's just a little rework that they did to make him psychic instead of this all-knowing detective.
Okay.
And he works with the local police, just like Sherlock Holmes, but Americanized and funny.
Yeah, I like it. During that time that Psych was pretty popular, there was also this show called White Collar. I don't know if you ever watched this show.
I did not.
And there was this other show called Burn Notice. All three of those came on at the same time. Fantastic shows. Won't get into too much of them because they're not on streaming services.
Yeah.
But White Collar might be on Netflix. But anyways, all three of those were pretty
Speaking
good.
of, let me go back to Netflix just for 1 second.
All right.
If you haven't seen Sherlock, the BBC series.
Is that with Benedict Cumberbatch?
Benedict Cumberbatch and Martin Freeman.
Okay.
Both of which who were in the Hobbit movie.
Okay. Fun fact.
Fun fact, yeah.
Jacob, fun facts.
So that is just that was another great series I watched. Each episode is like an hour and a half long, though, so you really need to dedicate time to it.
Yeah.
Because it's like each individual episode is a movie. But it's great.
I like it.
Also tugs at your heartstrings with some things.
Yeah.
Either that or I'm just too emotional. I mean, one
Listen,
of the two.
Feel the feels.
Feel the feels, yeah.
I love it. All right, let's get to the elephant in the room. We've discussed it a little bit already. Disney Plus.
Oh, boy.
The new streaming service out there for us to enjoy.
Yes, so when Disney Plus came out, me and my roommate Zach, bringing up Zach again.
Well, all right, we'll say his name now,
Yes,
Zach.
I had said his name before.
Oh, I didn't notice.
Yeah.
Anyways.
So his family got it, and we put it on my Xbox since we're living in the same room, and we spent 30 to 40 minutes just looking.
Just looking, right?
And it's it was. I don't even know how to explain it. It was like I was 10 again.
Yeah, it's like the vault was open to us. They even have a section called the vault.
From the vault, yeah.
Yeah.
So it's this great nostalgia piece streaming service.
Mm-hmm.
And, it's Disney, Marvel, National Geographic. Some Fox stuff is probably on there now because Disney bought out Fox movies.
Yeah, well, The Simpsons is on there.
Yeah,
I think that's the only one that I saw.
Home Alone, I think, is also on there.
Okay. And also Star Wars.
Yeah, Star Wars.
Yeah.
So with Disney Plus, their big show right now is
The Mandalorian.
The Mandalorian. Now, you've seen, if you don't know what The Mandalorian is, you know what it is through a certain meme. And Greg, do you know what that meme is?
Are you talking about the Baby Yoda memes?
I'm talking about Baby Yoda memes.
Baby Yoda. Isn't he so cute, though? He or she. I don't think we know We know what
Baby Yoda. Let's just call it that
Baby
until
Yoda.
we figure out what it is.
They, them, theirs.
Yes. So Baby Yoda is one of the most adorable things I have ever seen.
Yeah.
When I watched the first
So
episode, I was just, oh my god.
Yeah.
It was, I don't know, like, it's, you know, it has nothing to do with the Skywalkers or anything like that. It's just after Revenge of the Sith, before The Force Awakens. I know that.
Yeah.
Great show.
Yeah, really good. So yeah, if you know who the bounty hunter, what's his name?
Boba Fett.
Boba Fett. So Boba Fett is a Mandalorian. No, he's not actually. He just wears Mandalorian armor.
Yeah.
So the Mandalorians have their own religion, basically.
Yeah.
And they like worship weapons, and they have this thing where they can't take their helmets off.
Wait, are you talking about the Mandalorian in, like, the actual Mandalorian? His name is Mando. I thought you were talking about Boba Fett.
Well, I was making the connection.
Oh, okay.
So with the Mandalorian, it's episodic.
Mm-hmm.
It's released every week.
Yep.
So it gives us a chance to talk about it. So I'm going to be honest, this last episode was kind of lacking, episode 4.
Did not watch it.
Honestly, you can skip it because nothing really happened. But basically, it just follows this character called... does he have a name?
He goes by Mando. Like, people call him Mando.
Mando.
Because he's a Mandalorian. They're just kind of calling him by his race.
Yeah, well, that's interesting.
Racist.
Yeah.
It's, like, offensive, kind of. But
Yeah.
Not really, because it's Star Wars.
I didn't even notice it, to be honest. But yeah, it follows his journey, and it's kind of like a quest type of show.
Yeah.
So he was originally set out to find the package, which was Baby Yoda.
Yeah.
And then he fell in love with the little guy.
Or girl.
Or girl.
The little Baby Yoda.
The little Baby Yoda.
Yeah.
And it's a cute show. Like, if you like Star Wars, it doesn't necessarily completely feel like Star Wars. But if you like the original series, it's got that kind of feel.
It's a good separate Star Wars show.
Yeah.
Kind of like, it's I didn't really watch any of, like, the animated Star Wars stuff that came out after the movies.
I didn't either. Like, I heard the Clone Wars was really good.
The Clone Wars was good.
Yeah.
I liked the movie and, like, some of the show.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a good, like, I don't know, separate piece. Kind of like how they're doing the Star Wars stories. Like, they did Solo, which I heard was kind of eh.
Yeah.
And Rogue One was really good.
Rogue One was good.
Actually, funny story. The second time I saw Rogue One in theaters, I fell asleep. Rogue One to me is one of those movies where, like, it's good every once in a while.
Yeah, honestly, it was one of those movies that I would put on in the background to go to sleep.
Yeah.
Because it was on Netflix. I don't know if it still is.
No, it's on Disney Plus now.
Yeah, which is interesting. That brings up another thing, is that with these new streaming services coming out, you already brought this up with NBC, but they're taking it off of the other streaming services.
Mm-hmm.
So currently there is no... it might be Endgame or Infinity War.
Infinity War is on Netflix.
Yeah. So Infinity War...
So is Ragnarok.
The rights are with Netflix right now, so it's not even on Disney Plus, even though Disney owns the movie.
Yeah.
Which is very interesting.
So, that is from contracts that they set up before. I think Disney Plus was really, like... It may have been while Disney Plus was in the works, but... they just didn't set an appropriate time frame to get all of their stuff off of Netflix.
Yeah.
When Disney Plus was really getting into motion, they canceled all of the Marvel shows on Netflix, and it's causing those shows to be, like, in this kind of state of
like unfinished.
What's going to happen.
Yeah.
And that's just because in the contracts, I believe they have to wait a certain amount of time before Disney can start making those shows again.
Okay. And Disney's got a whole bunch of things lined up with Marvel.
Yeah. Not just movies. They're doing TV shows for Disney Plus.
Yeah, there's a lot, like, mostly what Phase 4 is those TV shows.
I think to, like, round it out.
Yeah.
To, like, give, like, final conclusions or to start new chapters of Phase 5 or Phase 4.
Yeah, and I heard that they're going to try to integrate the movies and the TV show, so it's all going to be on the same timeline.
Yeah.
So you kind of are forced to buy Disney Plus to understand what's happening.
Well, yeah.
I'm sure there'll be standalone movies too, but to get a deeper sense of what's going on.
Either that or they're going to try and make it to where the shows are going to be there, but kind of make it separate from a little bit, like where you don't have to watch the shows, hopefully, to really get a sense of it.
For sure.
Because like with the Black Widow movie that's coming out soon, not recently.
I'm excited about it.
The teaser dropped recently. I enjoyed it a lot.
Yeah.
But with the Black Widow movie, I think it's taking place in between Civil War and the next movie that came out after that. I don't remember which one it was.
I don't remember.
But whatever movie came out after Civil War is taking place in between those two. And, it's not going to bring up anything that we've seen recently. It's just kind of its own thing.
Yeah.
And it doesn't take away from Black Widow's character, what happened in Endgame and things like that.
Yeah, for sure.
So
Disney's got a whole repertoire of, if you want to go back and watch the Marvel movies from like the beginning to end, you can do it.
Yeah.
You've got access to it.
I will say with some of the older Disney movies, like the older animated ones, you got to be careful and realize that it was a different time.
Exactly.
Doesn't justify why, like with Peter Pan, how they portrayed Native Americans with the red skin thing.
Yeah.
It's, it was a different time that was more quote unquote acceptable than it is now. But
I would also be careful because you watched these as a kid and you loved them as a kid.
Yeah.
That doesn't necessarily going to like them as an adult.
Right.
So just fair warning. There's caution there.
Yeah, if you want to go back and watch it and ruin your childhood, go ahead. Be my guest. But if you want to take that as a word of warning, just be careful. And you want to keep a memory a certain way, do that.
Yeah. So I'm going to leave us on this question. Out of all the streaming services we talked about, if you had to pick one, which one would you choose?
Oh, man. That is a good question. It's difficult to really answer, and the reason is because I use a lot.
Yeah.
If we're going based off availability of content and things like that, I would go Netflix right now.
Okay.
But with things changing in the next 2-3 years, who knows? And like all these streaming services are going to be in a state of limbo until they figure something out.
That's fair. So you think Netflix still
reigns supreme? Hulu definitely second.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. For me, I would honestly, I'm gonna put Disney Plus as my number one
right now.
Yeah, because it's just so new. It's got a bunch of things coming out, and they've just got my excitement right now because they've got all the movies I love, and there's just a lot of content on there.
I think because Disney Plus is mainly like those 5 like National Geographic, Marvel, Disney, Pixar, things like that.
Right.
It just doesn't have enough. Like it's not rounded.
Diverse. It's got it is very Disney.
Yeah. It's genre and company specific.
Yeah.
Whereas Netflix and Hulu, they have a bunch of different things to watch from different companies.
That's a fair point.
And until Disney, owns everything.
They will one day.
Yeah, they will one day. It's just not in the cards right now.
Yeah. Well, let us know what you think your favorite service is, and maybe we'll have a little dialogue about it.
Yeah.
Cool. Awesome. Thank you for listening to this episode of Downtime with Jacob and Greg. I'm Greg.
I'm Jacob.
We'll see you next time.
Adios.